All right, welcome to your profit video series for this week. So this week's show might be a little boring for some of you. Okay, it's a tough subject. We're talking finances, but it's very, very important. This beginning of the year show, it's very important to work on your finances for the year. And that's basically what this whole show is about, right? The year of profit is your finances and getting those finances in order so that you can live and grow body, mind, and wallet. Okay? Finances are a very important part of it. So let's go over some things that you need to do this time of year for your finances. Okay? And as usual, I'll put all the links in the show notes below. I'll put the questions in the show notes, everything for you. So go over them. Look at the show notes. Go over this stuff. It's very important. It's tough. I know. Working on finances, doing a budget, all that stuff's hard work. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Okay? It's always the hardest thing is when you first start out. So let's go over a few things to make this your beginning of the year financial checklist. Okay? So first thing is organize all your finances. Okay, it may sound simple, but organize your finances. By gathering the information about your finances and your financial accounts, you can get a good idea of where you stand financially. So write down everything. Okay, this is really important. And gathering information about bank accounts, credit cards. Hopefully you don't have any credit cards. But if you do, gathering the information about your credit cards, your savings accounts, your investments, your loan balances if you have any. I hope you don't. Your insurance policies, all this stuff. Get it organized. Write it down, lay it out on your desk, get it organized. Number 2, review your budget. Go over your budget. Your budget changes. It changes week to week, but it changes year to year. So work on that budget. Go over past year's budget and see where you can make those adjustments. If you use a budgeting app, and if you don't, I suggest going up to DaveRamsey.com. Let me bring it up here. As you know, my notes are in front of me. He has some tools. Okay. Under the free tools, he has a lot of different stuff that you can go over. And later on, I'll talk about some other things. But one of the things is go up on Dave Ramsey's website. If you're not using a budgeting tool, he has a great one up there that I use. Okay, so I use this. Go up to Dave Ramsey, RamseySolutions.com, and under the products tab, pan down under the product tabs, you'll see the every dollar budget app. Click on that, download that app. It's free, and it's a great budgeting tool that you can use that he offers for free. Now, there is a paid part of it where it links up your budget to your bank account. If you want to do that, you can. I don't. I just use the budgeting app. It's a great app. So that's one important thing is review your budget for the year because it will change. Okay. Number 3, plan for upcoming expenses. This is a no-brainer, but you really need to write down what your expenses are going to be. Are you going to need new tires this year? Are you going to need a new car this year? Is your furnace going to go out? Or do you think your furnace is going to go out? Are you going to need a new roof? All those things. And what this is you want to make a bank account. And what this is called is a sinking fund. Businesses use these all the time. I used it when I knew my car was going to die and I knew I was going to have to buy a new car. So I made a bank account called Ford, the Ford account, and I paid myself monthly, paid myself car payments month by month, knowing that I'm going to have to buy this car eventually. So plan for upcoming expenses. This is all part of your budget, and all these really mesh together. Okay, all these steps mesh together, but it's important things that you've got to think about for your financial, year, for your financial piece. So plan for upcoming expenses. Get a sinking fund and, bank account with, and, you know, you can call it whatever you want. I called mine Ford account, and I just paid myself accordingly. Number 4, evaluate where you are in the baby steps. Now, as you know, part of my program that I follow is Dave's program, but part of my program is the baby steps. Where are you in those baby steps? Do you even know what the baby steps are? If not, go over it. You know, you can find one of my shows. I went over the baby steps, and I'm going to go over them again. I'm going to make another show about them. But the baby steps. Baby step 1 is $1,000 in the bank as a starter emergency fund. It's just a starter emergency fund. $1,000, earmark it as an emergency fund. That way you can cut up those credit cards and have some money in case something happens. Cut up those credit cards. Baby step 2 is pay off all debts, smallest to largest, using the debt snowball. Baby step 3 is after you're completely out of debt, you actually go back and build on that emergency fund. You want 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. And then baby step 4, 5, 6, and 7 are accordingly. But go over your baby steps. See where you are in those baby steps. If you still have debt, you're in baby step 2. Get those debts paid off using the debt snowball, smallest to largest, and work on that. So figure out where you are. And number 6 goes along with that. Okay, so, but number 5 is assess your savings. What do you have in the bank? You know, what accounts do you have? Are those accounts up to date? You know, if you have a sinking fund, is there enough money in there to cover the expense? Now, this is different than an emergency fund, but this is the time where you go over those accounts and you figure out, do I have enough money in my emergency fund? Am I in baby step 2? In baby step 3? You know, do you have that $1,000? If not, you're in baby step 1. Finish that. Put that $1,000 in the bank. If you're on baby step 3, how much do you have? You want to keep at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in that account in case something happens, and something will happen. I've used my emergency fund many times, and it's so, this feeling you get when you break down and you know you had that money, you just, you know, take the money out and you fix the car, you know, whatever. So assess your savings accounts and see what you have. Make sure your checking account, you only have enough money in your checking account to cover your monthly expenses plus a little bit. You know, don't put all your money in your checking account. We've talked about that before. I ran into somebody that had a lot of money in their checking account, and I'm talking, I could pay off my house 3 times over with the amount of money they had in their checking account. What happens if someone gets that debit card? What happens if they get your number and they go in there and they buy stuff? Only have enough money in that account to cover your monthly expenses plus a little bit as a buffer. Number 6, I've already talked about this, but it's important, is to pay down that debt. If you are in baby step 2 and you're paying off that debt, pay it off using the debt snowball. List out all your debts, smallest to largest. Pay off that smallest amount, get gazelle intense, and pay that off. Okay, don't worry about the interest rates. We don't care about the interest rates. A lot of people say pay off the ones with the most interest rate. No, smallest to largest, because as the debt snowball rolls over, you're going to be paying off all these a lot faster. And the thing is, once you pay off that smallest debt and you move on to the next one, you reward yourself. That's the important thing. You must reward yourself, because if you don't reward yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get weighed down. You're going to think that you're doing it and not getting anywhere. Okay, so list your debts, smallest to largest. Don't worry about the interest rates. Get gazelle intense on that smallest amount. Pay your minimum payments on everything else, but focus on that one. Okay. Number 7, this is important. This is the time of year to prepare for tax time. I know. Make sure you have all your W-2s in place. Make sure you have your W-2s from whatever jobs you've done. Let's say you delivered pizzas to pay down your debt. Make sure you get those W-2s. Make sure you have, what's your list? Let me look at the list here. So by gathering all your documents you need to file your taxes, including last year's tax returns. That's important. Get your last year's receipts that are applicable for charitable contributions, business expenses, medical costs, child care, educational expenses. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. So if you don't have a tax professional that does your taxes, I recommend finding one. Now, it's going to cost you some money, yes, but by getting that tax person doing it for you, he's going to do it right. And he's going to know about all these deductions. Lots of times there's deductions that you don't even know about that you can cover. You know, like I work for a factory and I pay union dues. Well, those are tax deductible. The boots that I wear, my safety glasses, my clothing, you know, my work clothes, if you have uniforms that you're paying for, that's all tax deductible. So by getting a tax professional, they know all this stuff. And like I said before, if you don't have one, go up to RamseySolutions.com, go under Trusted Services. He has people under the tax services thing that are in your area that have the heart of a teacher. Okay? It's just like investing, and I'm going to go over that too, but it's just like investing. You want somebody in your corner that's going to teach you the right way to do things. Not tell you, not do things for you without telling you. You have to know, and you have to be able to understand what they're doing. So get a tax professional. It's very important to get someone in your corner that's going to tell you all the right deductions, and you're not going to get a letter from the IRS saying you did things wrong. So it's really important. I did my taxes on my own, and I screwed them up. And I found out the hard way to get someone in my corner. And I have someone do them now. It does cost some money, but it's worth it in the long run. They're going to do it right. And they're going to get you as much back as they can. Okay, so where am I? Number 8. Examine your insurance coverage. This is very important. Okay. Go over your insurance with your insurance provider. Find out what policies you have. Find out if you have to update the policies. Find out if you have enough coverage. Find out if you're paying too much. What if you're overcovered? Great example. As you guys know, my car broke down. I had to buy a new car. Okay, and I had the money in my account to pay for that, which wasn't an emergency fund. It was a sinking fund. And I had the money, and when the time came, I sold my old car, and luckily the guy that worked on it all these years, he wanted it, he bought it, and he made me a great deal, and so I took it. But the thing is, I forgot to tell my insurance provider that I sold the car. So the past 3 weeks, I've been paying insurance on it. I know it's not a lot, but you know, it's another great example. Okay, and if you were listening to the podcast this week, you've heard me tell this, is I went a few years ago to renew my license plates, and the girl's like, "You never renewed them last year." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." She's like, "No, you never renewed your plates. I was driving on expired plates for a year." Okay? You can forget about stuff. I forgot about calling my insurance company and canceling my insurance for the car that I sold. So get with your insurance agent. Go over your accounts. Make sure that you're paying enough. Make sure you're not paying too much. Make sure make sure you have enough coverage, because your house coverage, you may have got when you first bought your house is worth a lot more now, and it's going to cost you more to replace the stuff that you have now. What happens if the house burns down and you only have enough coverage to cover the house when you bought it originally? Well, everything's gone up. So make sure you go over your insurance with your insurance agent. Okay. Number 9. Where am I at here? Number 9. Go over your retirement and your other investments with your retirement person. Okay, who you will go through. If you don't have somebody that you're going through for your retirement accounts, get someone. Okay. Same thing. I went up to Ramsey Solutions. I typed in my area code, and they came up with a bunch of people in my area that are trusted providers. They're investor pros that I can go to and talk to that are going to teach me about my investments. Not just tell me where to invest stuff, but teach me why and take care of me with the heart of a teacher. So it's really important to go over your retirement accounts and your other investments this time of year. Call your agent. And like my agent, he called me and he says, hey, it's time to go over, so get in here and go over your accounts. So it's important this time of year to do that. Go over your retirement accounts. Now, I recommend putting 15% into retirement. If you are still in baby step 2 and you're paying off your debts, stop all investing. Okay, now you may think, well, wait a minute, I don't want to stop investing. No, get those bills or get those debts paid off first. And then start up that's your next baby step, is after you get your 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in your emergency fund, the next step is to invest 15% of your gross income into retirement. I only say 15% because later on, after you pay off your house, then you're going to raise it up. But you may have at your job, they may have a 401k program where they invest for you. They put a portion into your 401k, match that, and then whatever you have left to come up to that 15%, put in a Roth 401k. And your professional will help you with that. Very important. Okay. Use that Roth 401k. Dave says each one of those letters are worth $1 million, and it's true. Roth is an awesome thing that you have to be into. So talk to your provider about that. They'll work with you. Okay. Number 10 is make or update your estate plan. This is very important. You need to think about your wills. You need to think about an estate plan may include things like your living trust, your living will, your health care, your financial power of attorney. Okay. Get all that in order. Work on your financial or your estate planning. If you don't have a will, make a will up. There's tons of places to get one. Just do a basic will. Unless you're a millionaire, then that all goes into other things, but worry about that later. Get your will in place. Put your will in a safe and secure box, which I'll talk about next. But get your estate plan in order. Find out who you want to be, your power of attorney, all that. And now is the time to think about that. Okay? Think about your family. And you all have heard stories of families that something happened and all they did was fight and all that because they didn't have things in order. So get your stuff in order now. It's the beginning of the year. It's time to do it. And number 11, your legacy box. Dave Ramsey calls it a legacy drawer. I don't agree with that. Okay. That's one thing I don't agree with him is what I call it is a firebox. Get it in a place. Get all these things in a firebox so that if your house does catch on fire, it's not going to burn up. If you have a drawer in your file cabinet or that, if the file cabinet is not fireproof, it's all going to burn up and it's useless to have it. Okay. But have what they call a legacy box or a firebox. If you don't know what it is, talk to your family. Talk to your father, your mother, or whatever, because I know they've had one. But what this is it's a box, and I have one right here in the closet. Okay? It's a firebox that if something happens, if I get in an accident, if I have a major stroke, because I had a stroke and I've got the scar to prove it. If something happens to where you become incapacitated, whether you're a car wreck, a fire, illness, whatever, you walk out of your house and a squirrel falls on you and chokes you and you pass out, whatever. You have to have a box that someone knows about, your power of attorney knows about, that they can go to and grab it, and it has all this information in it. When I was an EMT, I had what they call a jump box in my car. I had a box in my car that had all the EMT stuff in it. So if I saw an accident or if something happened, I could just grab that box and it has everything in there I needed. Well, this is the same thing. You need to make a legacy box. This is very important. Very important. And like I said, I have one in my closet right here. And my power of attorney knows exactly where it's at. It's very important. They know where it's at, how to get to it. If it ends up being a safety deposit box, they have to have a key. So get a key made, okay, a copy of the key. Sometimes they won't let you do that, but ask your bank, say, listen, I need, maybe they'll just give you 2, put 1 in the box, whatever. So what you need to have in this box is a cover letter explaining your power of attorney, who it is, what it is, where it is, all that stuff. So have a cover letter, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just explains the box. It explains who to get a hold of, what happens when things happen, stuff like that. So get a cover letter together explaining that. Extra set of keys to your car, your house, your garage, whatever. Anything that has a key. Put an extra set of keys in that legacy box or that fire box. If you do have a safety deposit box, make sure there's a key to that in there with written instructions right on it, where the box is, who to contact, what bank is it, who to contact at that bank, where it's located, what number it is, all that. Okay, very important. Your wills and your estate plan have to have that in that box, because if something happens to where someone has to get that box, they have to know what your plans are. Your financial account information. Who do you owe money to? If you owe money to someone, who do you owe money to? Who to contact? What your passwords are. That's a new one now too, is a list of all your passwords. I don't remember my passwords. I have to have them wrote down. Now, you have to have them all listed out of anywhere that you have to put a password or any account that you have online. Write all that stuff down, because they're going to have to cancel those accounts. Very important. You got to cancel those accounts if something happens. God forbid something happened, but we're talking about if it does. Okay, so financial account and information. Funeral arrangements. What are your plans? Who do you have your funeral arrangements with? This is big. Now, I don't recommend going out and buying a plot and all that. Save that money, put that money away. But when it does happen, have that money set aside so that someone knows, your power of attorney knows that they have to get in this box and it has all that laid out. God forbid you pass away and they don't know what your plans are. They don't know how you want to be buried, where you want to be buried, all that stuff. This is morbid to think about, but it's stuff you have to think about. Okay, so that's important. This goes along with it. Your insurance policies and your important documents. That's a no-brainer. Have that information. Take and go to your insurance provider today and get his business card. Okay, staple it to a bill or whatever and put it in the box so they know who to contact. It's very important, because they may know that you have State Farm or Allstate or something, but they won't know who to contact. Okay, so have that business card in there. Monthly budget, that all goes back to, your financial information. You might just put your budget in there. That way they know who you're paying money to, where you're paying money to, the account numbers, even goes with the electricity and your water bills, stuff like that, who to contact. A list of monthly expenses, the same thing. Tax return. Put last year's tax return in there. Okay, that way you know where it's at, so when tax time comes, you can re-up it. Safety deposit box instructions, like I said earlier before. But one thing is, like your monthly expenses, who to contact. What happens if you pass away, you have a debit card. Write down that phone number and put it in their box so that they can freeze that account. Any cards you have, whether it's debit cards or credit cards, hopefully you don't have any left. But if you do have a debit card, make sure you have it wrote down on the phone number to where they can cancel or freeze that account immediately. There are so many people out there that look and see, in the news, if someone says this person was in an accident and they're in a coma, people will go and get that information and empty your bank account. It's been done. People have done it. So your power of attorney has to be able to call that bank or that 1-800 number on the back of the card and freeze that account or cancel that account immediately. Too many people lose their life savings because that wasn't done. So this is very important to make this box up and tell your power of attorney or tell whoever, your family member, where it's at, how to access it. If it's a locked box, if it's a safe that you have in your house, and if you do have a safe in your house, bolt it to the floor because people will steal it. If they find out that you're in the hospital, people will break into your house and steal you blind. So make sure you bolt that to the floor. Make sure that person that you have power of attorney over has keys to your house, knows where that box is at, and somehow can secure your home. And this is important, you know. So anyhow, a lot of boring stuff this week, but very important stuff that you need to go over to make your year end or your year beginning financial checklist. So look in the show notes. I'll put everything in there that I just talked about. Go over it. Very important. Also in the show notes, I've linked to my book, The 14-Day Morning Affirmation Transformation. This book will change your life. Pick it up on Amazon. It'll change your life. It has changed the lives of a lot of people. I'm so proud that did it and I'm helping people out. Also, I have a link to the Your Profit Facebook page. As you're looking at this video, you don't need to see the YouTube channel, but please hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot. I'm trying to get over 1,500 subscribers. It's real important for me to get to that number. And if you're looking for high-end clothing, I'll put a link in the show notes also to my sister's Poshmark page. She sells high-end clothing at super low prices through Poshmark. So anyways, thank you for checking out this week's video. Hope you have a great week. I'll see you again when I put out another video. On my YouTube channel, as you're watching this, take a look at the different videos I have here. I have videos that will help you sleep. I have videos that will help you become a better person, be happier, be wealthier, all that. So check them all out, okay? And have a great week.